Yo, what's good? I genuinely hope that you're enjoying the mixtape by now. And by now, you probably realise that it's not really one of them mixtapes you see the man then giving out on a street corner of a shopping centre. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to London Oxford Street and you'll see what I mean. But anyway, let's get cracking with track 5. Okay, so track 5. This is all about the academic side of uni. We've got the basics on how to master the living side of things. Now let's see what going on in the classroom. And this is something that I really had to master myself. Like I told you in my story, I came through clearing. So I was already starting from behind the people in my class. I knew that I was already behind the 8 ball. So I had to master the education game to be able to graduate with a first and get published in the process. And yes, I used the word game, because once you realise that academics is very much like a game, it makes it easier for you to clock it and makes it so much fun at the same time. So hashtag no stress. Now typically, there are 3 to 4-ish ways that you'll be tested at uni. Of course, depending on what you are studying. And you want to at least master 2 of them, but if you can master all 3, then you're a genius. I only really mastered 2, and I'll say I was probably just average on the last one, but it still got me a first. So what are the 3 things I'm talking about? Now, if you know me, you know that I'm a big fan of my acronyms, so I always like to use them to illustrate things that I'm explaining. So the acronym that I use for the academic side of uni is APE. You basically want to go absolutely ape, just go ham with your uni work, and then trust me, you'll get the results that you want. So what's the A? The A stands for assignments/essays. These are typically a research question asked by your lecturer on which you will produce a several thousand worded essay. Now, if you're anything like me before I went to uni, the sheer thought of writing an essay with thousands of words scared the out of me. I struggled to fill the characters in a tweet. But then once I realised the game of assignments and essays, they became a breeze. And I soon got to the point whereby every single assignment I handed in was no less than a first. So as Jigsaw said in Saw, I want to play a game. Well, actually, I want to show you the game. I want to show you the game of assignments and essays. Now, there are only 2 rules to this game. Rule number 1, you don't talk about the game. Rule number 2, you don't talk about the game. Ready? Okay, let's go. If you've got a pen and paper, then write this down. Or if you don't, then just mentally ingrain it into your head. There are 3 P's that you need to master, and how you approach these 3 P's determine whether you get a first, a 2-1, a 2-2, or hopefully not a third or a fail. For the sake of this tape, I only have time to briefly touch on one for now, and that is the second P, which is, drumroll please, producing. So is it fair to say that at least at some point during your degree, you'll be asked to produce some sort of written essay, yeah? Okay, cool. So then is it also fair to say that at some point during this essay, you'll be asked to reference? Yeah? Well, I'm glad you know that, because before I started my degree, I didn't even know what referencing was. Hence, like I told you in track 3 of my story, that one of the reasons I did so bad on my first assignment was because I didn't reference. And this is so key, because in certain essays and assignments, referencing will give you that extra 10% for just doing it correctly. Imagine that. Your essay could be a 60%, so a 2-1 quality. But for referencing correctly, you could be getting an extra 10%, which will bump you up to 70%, which is a first. Wow. That blew my mind when I realised that. And what I'm about to tell you next is a secret I did in my first year that I've never told anybody up until now. Are you ready? The day after I found out about this idea of referencing, I went to my university library, I grabbed the how-to reference guide and literally read it back to forth until it's ingrained in my membrane. But not only that, due to the nature of my degree, not only did I have to learn the Harvard style of referencing, I also had to learn the APA style of referencing too. So I took out the book on that how-to guide for that style of referencing as well, and I spent time reading that back and forth. Because why? Because that is what I was prepared to do for my degree. So what are you prepared to do for yours? What sacrifices are you prepared to make? Because I remember in my class, lots of my friends already knew about referencing because they had learned it at college. But at my college, we didn't. So at uni, I knew I was already coming from behind. So I had to put in that little bit extra just to stay on track with everybody. Because the only difference between doing something ordinary and doing something extraordinary is doing that little bit extra. So when it came to referencing after that, I absolutely loved it because I learned it by heart. And if you can fall in love with referencing, it makes things so much easier. If you want to be a first class student, then you've got to do what first class students do. So one tip I want to give you is to just fall in love with referencing, and it makes the producing of essays so much easier. Now for the second part of Go APE, let's talk about the P, which is, you may have guessed it, presentations. I absolutely love doing presentations at uni. Every year, when I looked at my modules and saw that there was a presentation coming up, I thought to myself, yep, that's a nice easy first there. And by the time I got towards the end of my degree, I was in a position whereby my lecturers were debating whether to give me 95 or 100% for a presentation. So the question you should be asking yourselves right now is, how do I get my presentations to almost a 100% standard? That is almost perfect. If someone from Mortal Kombat saw my presentation, they would say, perfect. And I'm not saying this to be cocky. I'm saying this because I want to help you. Because I know that a large percentage of people actually fear presentations. So I'm guessing that you might too. And that is only because they have not realized the game behind it. But it hurts me right now to say this, because it's one of them ones with presentations whereby I can't really talk to you how to boss it. It's something that I have to show you. I have to be present with you, hence the word presentation. But what I can tell you is the P's to bossing them. Yep, I'm back with my P's again. The man them know I'm about my P's, but anyway. There's only 4 P's you need to master when it comes to a presentation. And right now, I'm going to share with you the first one. Because if you don't get the first one right, the other 3 are irrelevant. However, if you do get this first P right, then the other 3 will just flow like a locomotive. And the first P is, drum roll again please, picking. The first P is picking. This is picking the people you are working with on your presentation and picking the right topic. Because often for a presentation at uni, you'll be given a choice on what topic to present. But not only that, it also means picking the right part of the presentation out of your team to present. So that is picking whether you do the opening, the middle, or the close of your presentation, for example. And notice how I use the word team. Because you want to have the right people in your group so it feels like you are a team. Because if you choose clowns to work with in your group, then well, you're only going to get clown results. It's like a formula, clown equals clown. However, you choose the right people to work with, then you get the right results. And take note, because sometimes just because you're friends with someone, it doesn't mean they're right to be in your group. Quite often in my degree, the people I did best with in presentations weren't necessarily my best buddies outside of the classroom. So in summary, hashtag choose wisely. And in terms of the other P's for bossing your presentation, how to get a guaranteed first every time, like I said, I'll have to show you. So if you haven't done so already, take out your phone, go on Facebook and go to the Student Mastery Program and like our page, where I'll be posting videos and other content to help you. I'll give you a few seconds to do that right now. Alright then squad. Can I call you squad? Okay, I'll call you squad. Alright, cool. So let's recap what we looked at so far in how we can go ape with our academic work at uni. So the A. We now know the A is to go absolutely ape with assignments and essays. The P is to go ape with presentations. And the final letter, the E, is to go absolutely ape with exams. But with bang, good old exams. Now, where do I start with this one? Exams for people can sometimes be a big struggle. Even with me, I was just good at exams, but I wasn't perfect. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that you're completing a fully pledged essay, not having a month to do, but to do so in a mere hour or so under exam conditions, with no aid such as the internet or a dictionary to help you, which you might be used to. So anything that you need to know in exams, such as references, has to all come straight from your dome. And of course, there are different styles of exams too. You could have multiple choice, you could have short answer exams, or like I said, you can have the long essay style exams. And these can come throughout the year. But typically, they tend to be halfway through the academic year in January and/or towards the end of the year in your final term. And again, I'm not trying to teach you how to suck eggs here, but feel free to suck them if you wish. But I'm fully aware that you have obviously done well with exams in your life to get to where you are right now. Whether it was at college or GCSEs or whatever, and I respect that. But at uni, the problem most people have when it comes to exams, which leads to a series of negative effects such as feeling nervous or why people say, oh, I'm not looking forward to these exams, is a problem of revision. And let me explain what I mean by that. Because I know that you know that I know that you know that I know that you already know what revision is already. So the reason why revision is a problem for students at uni, and will be for you too if you don't at least consider the information that I'm about to share with you. So here we go. The word revision in English actually comes from the French word revision, which came from the Latin word revisionem, which means seeing again. The key word there being again. So revision means revising or revisiting something that you already know, something that is already in your head. However, the problem for most students is that it's not there already. It's not in their heads in the first place because they haven't learnt it. So what they are really telling you a few weeks before the exam when they're saying they're revising, what they actually mean is that they're learning, not revising. Because you have to learn it first before you can revise it. Which is a massive problem, because if you're learning a massive topic a few weeks before the exam, that is putting added pressure on you to do well, which adds to the stress or the nerves when you are facing that exam. So what you want to happen is that you want to have it learnt already, not even weeks, but months way before the exam actually is. So when it does actually get to the revision period, you'll be actually revising what you know instead of having to learn it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And the revision for exam doesn't just take place a few weeks before the exam. It actually starts right now. There's nothing stopping you from finding out the topic of your exam coming up in January, April or May, whenever it is, and at least getting started with some revision for it. Remember, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just doing that something extra. And that's it for track 5. We looked at going ape with your uni work and how you need to master all 3 or at least 2 to truly go ape with them. And we'll go into that in depth another time. But stay tuned to the mixtape because we got more tricks for track 6.